You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for your successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. And my guest today has been popping up in my social media feed, and I've been so intrigued to talk to her because of a number of things that have been raised up into my awareness over the last few weeks. And so I very enthusiastically welcome Dr Vicky Prokopiou.
Perfect.
Yay! A dentist and a coach as well, and her coaching company is Above It. Welcome, Vicky.
Hi, Julie. Thank you for having me. I'm so honoured to be here.
You are glorious. I'm honoured to have you here. And I'm so thrilled that even though I was slow in pronouncing your surname, that I got it right.
You got it perfect.
And it's Greek, is it? Greek origin?
It is, yes. Greek background. I'm a result of migrant parents.
Beautiful, yes. Beautiful. My husband's a result of migrant parents from Hungary. And, you know, this country is a result of migrants all over. So it's just absolutely glorious.
Absolutely.
So the reason why you've been popping up in my social feeds is because you are doing a lot of work with women in dentistry and helping them get a bit of work-life balance and alleviate the stress and overwhelm that certainly can come into your world. And when you throw in motherhood on top of that, that's, overwhelm on steroids. But first of all, you're a dentist, and I also, with my research, and you're a pharmacist as well. You've done pharmacy in the background as well. So just a little brief synopsis of what brought you to this space.
Yeah, so I've been a dentist now since 2010. I graduated in 2010. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. And I did pharmacy before that. I knew going into pharmacy that, excuse me, it wasn't the career for me. But I just didn't know what to do after school. Like a lot of us, we have no idea. We get the marks, we go, I got the marks, I'll get into this, I'll do this. And you listen to other people. So that's one thing in my journey of finding myself that I've learned to listen to myself. And this is what I support other women to do, to put themselves first and to not let the background noise affect them. So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed pharmacy. I worked as a hospital pharmacist. I worked in community, and it was great because I had pocket money once I studied dentistry. So that also meant I'd work weekends, like 12-hour days, Saturdays, Sundays. So we all know slogging it hard. It is the sacrifices you make in our industry, regardless of your position, are huge, but they do pay off, but they come at a price. So I've had 3 practices. I'm on my 3rd practice. And
they've all been start up from scratches, haven't they?
They have.
That's hard slog.
I think I'm a control freak. So type A personality with a lot of creativity. So that's where I knew I had a vision, and I'm an implementer. I love to maximize things. So yeah, that's one thing I also assist and support other women to do, to look at their talents, and we look at their personality. Because if you don't know yourself, you cannot be the best version of yourself, whether it's at work or at home, as a mum, as a partner, as a boss, as a team leader, or as a team player. Absolutely. So with me, I had no idea what my path would be. I thought practice ownership is me. I kind of got thrown into it. The opportunity came. There was a place, a location, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I went in so blind. And I know how difficult it is because I wasn't business trained. I had no mentorship. And so I learned the hard way. I'm here to support others to just zoom through, just like this Zoom, go through and rise. So I moved from the country. I felt lonely, isolated, as lots of women in our industry do. Wasn't dating because I had studied all my life. Studying was my safe place. And looking back, I'm like, how silly I was. Like, I so could have done many more things with my life, but it's never too late. So going through ownership, I went through all of the challenges of managing a team. I had people quit on me. I had people who weren't a good fit. So a lot of things I'm sure you see as well. It's so important to have the right fit, the right culture, and the right people working alongside you so you all uplift each other. And it's the same with relationships. You've got to have someone who enriches you so that you can be the best you can be. As you can see, I love telling stories. So, so from there, I met my husband. I met him at a ball randomly. I went out to get drunk and have fun. Okay. I'm like, I've been working so hard. I went out with my sister. We went to a beautiful ball, and there was my husband at my table. Came late. This is all sister always runs late. So I had no idea he even existed. I knew of his sister and I knew his mum, but I didn't know that he existed. So that was my path. And that night I woke up to what an awesome relationship is. So I was meant to be there. And so from there, we decided to move to the bush. So we had a beautiful practice in Coonabarabran. So I was a rural dentist for a good 6 years. I would still be there now if I didn't listen to the signs that came to me, because there's lots of messages we all get from wherever it is you believe. And you've just got to follow the doors that open for you, the ones that you align with. So we were offered to sell our practice, and we did. I was 10 weeks pregnant with my third, hadn't really announced it. We'd gone through IVF. So I've gone through that. So please, whoever wants to talk about it, I'm so open. It's a journey, and it really is taxing on your mind and relationship too. But I had really great outcomes. I've got 3 beautiful miracles from that process. And so it was a hard 6 years, probably the hardest in my life. I had hit lows before, but I hit real lows during my time working in the bush, because there was such a need for healthcare in the bush, and you are so valued, but you are so needed. And if you don't know how to say no, you're really saying no to yourself. Every time you say yes to someone, and work through that lunch break, so this is applicable to anyone, say yes to yes, I'll take that extra shift on. You need to ask yourself, does this truly align with all parts of me? So is my mind agreeing with my gut and my heart? So I'm all about just awareness of yourself. And so from there, we had a little bump in the road. So we had plans to set up a practice in Paddington. Lost money on that. Was an investment that we didn't see coming, so that fell through. So I've had a life lesson there too. Don't trust people. Just follow your instinct. Do trust people, but trust the right people. That's it. Trust the right people in all parts of your life. And from there, I had my little girl. We were at my parents', and I had lost my freedom. So I lost my freedom of being in a home, in a business that was running well-oiled, of being somewhere with my family and where I had everything in order, right? So my whole world got turned around. I'm pretty sure I had postnatal depression as well, because I knew I needed to create something, and that's where coaching started. I knew I had a purpose, and it wasn't just to be a business owner. But then I had the dilemma of, well, I'm the breadwinner of the family. Both my husband and I had no jobs. So he was training to be a real estate agent at the time, because he thought, it's COVID, let's do something different. So I even started another degree. I'm like, this is so not sustainable. I'm pregnant, and I'm waking up at 4 a.m. to do my lectures and to write my essays. This is not sustainable. So I stopped that after a term. This was on skincare, because I love the skincare side of things. So I'm a bit outside the box. So it's really good to sometimes think outside the box, if that is where you are comfortable. And then also fear comes into that. So yes, fear is great. And a certain element of fear, an amount, just the right amount for your brain to power through it, is perfect. So you need a little bit of fear and a little bit of a challenge so that you can push yourself and achieve things. So it's, and your brain, it's all about the brain neurochemicals as well. So my coaching journey then began. And I also knew that we were going back to Sydney. So we organised our move. We moved into that Paddington place. Things fell through. So we moved into my mum's. And then from there, I was at such a low point in my life, because I was going to banks. I'm like, I've got a deposit. I've worked hard, worked in the bush. I've sacrificed so much, and sacrificed relationships with family as well, and had to come to reconnect with everybody. And we just kept getting pushbacks. No, you cannot borrow. You cannot borrow. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not my purpose. I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mum, because my husband at that point then went into real estate. I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mum. This does not fulfill me. So again, listening to yourself is really important. So all of that then led to my current practice, because I knew I loved leading teams. I love being around people, and I love helping people. There's a certain fulfillment you get from problem solving, doing the work, and then having nice relationships form out of it as well, and loyal clients and patients. I know I'm talking a lot, so thank you.
Keep going. I'm thrilled. I love it. I'm writing little bits down to mention later, but I'm loving it.
So I have now our practice has been open just over a year. It's challenging. It's challenging times and very different to the bush. Like everyone here as well who's listening, it's so hard to hire the right people. You can hire anyone in a heartbeat. Hire the right team to give that meaning and that extra little, I don't know, energy boost and that fulfillment that you get from work, to feed that, and so that you are happy going to work. So you don't feel like you're living and breathing work 24/7 and you're on that little hamster wheel just rolling, or Groundhog Day. So that's how I felt a lot in the bush as well. So it was definitely a blessing. And can I tell you, in that I had about 4 months. So COVID hit, we were negotiating our sale. And I said, look, I cannot work in a practice. I'm pregnant and I get really nauseous and sick. I have really tough pregnancies. I even had a big bleed with my last one, the one before. Like, it's traumatic. But you give it and do it again. Women are so strong. Men are strong too, but women are really strong. So I can tell you lots about me. Nothing's ever smooth sailing, but because there's lessons to be learned, and because I'm here now to share my story and my experience with everybody. And you will rise above everything. That's why I called my business Above It. It's about mastering your craft, whatever it is, balancing your life, and finding your true meaning and your true purpose. And that's where I come in. And I've got training in brain-based and neuroscience on that side of things. And I'm still training. I learn every day. That's one of my key 5 talents, a learner. Okay, big learner. So I've now, and I want to support others with my knowledge. So it's really fascinating how the brain works and how you form habits, how you get out of habits, how you go from your subconscious mind to consciously changing things so that you can get results and to achieve your goals and your dreams, to get out of that fear zone, to get into your learning and your, so get out of the fear zone and the comfort zone, to get into the learning and the goal zone where things happen for you. So that's the only way to move forward. Look, some people might be complacent or happy, and fantastic. That means you're in a really good place. Yeah. But there will come a point where you will push yourself a little bit, and just the right nudge and push, and just the right recipe in your brain as well, of the neurochemicals, the dopamine, your neurotransmitters, all create that beautiful motivation that you have so that you can achieve. So now I'm balancing. Like this morning, I had my team meeting. I've had lives for my Leading Dental Woman course, which has launched a couple of weeks ago. So I've got commitments. I'm very responsible. One of my other top 5 points, very responsible and very authentic. And I've got this beautiful chat with you now too. So I love being busy, and I love what I do. And my goal is to transition from clinical. So I'm kind of doing both at the moment. And I'm also mum. I've got the mum duties, the Mother's Day duties. I've had one yesterday at 7:30. So happy Mother's Day to those who, when you listen to this, will have celebrated Mother's Day. It's so special, and because of COVID, we missed out on a lot of that. So I'm embracing it. I've got another couple of Mother's Day events for Friday because I've got 3 kids, so I've got to go to each of their events, and I really look forward to them. So that's my little story, and now I'm here coaching. Coaching to me is my calling. I'm super passionate about it, and I'm here to ignite passion in others, to give them that career freedom, to give you the ability to value yourself and to live that family-friendly lifestyle with a purpose. Okay. And it all comes together. So whether you choose to be that magnificent role of being a mum 24/7, and you know what? I wish someone told me, this is what I wish, before having kids, I wish someone said, hey, Vicky, it's so wise to set yourself up so that you can have 5 or 10 years where you can completely be present for your kids. We all do that to a degree, but we've got so much background noise, so many other responsibilities. So I wish someone had told me that. So if I have a little message for everyone, take that year off, take that 2-3 years off and be with your children, because I didn't get the opportunity. Being a rural dentist, I did not. But now I'm achieving that, because I'm pursuing my coaching, which I love. And it's great. Our industry is good because if you're a dentist, for example, or an OHG, you can go, hey, I'm not going to work these mornings. You choose your days. Even if you're part of the team and you're in reception or dental assisting, make sure you take some time for you. Take that day off. So I know finances are hard these days, very hard, but it's about balancing out what is right for you in your situation so that you can live your life with some fun, some playtime. So there's something called the Healthy Mind Platter, which is amazing. It's a platter from the Neuro Leadership Institute. It's a little model, and I can send it to you as well, Julie, if you need it. It has 7 elements in there, which you need to address each and every one of them every day so that you can optimally focus and perform, be your best self. Sleep's in there, physical activity, focus time, so time that you set aside when you are fresh. And there's activities that I get the women to do in my course. So we figure out what your time is best to be able to be most productive and to connect with others. The human connection is huge. We were not put on this earth to be alone, to hide in a corner.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Today, we're here to give messages, here to make relationships and network.
And if anything proved that, it was the COVID lockdowns, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
It just destroyed a lot of people, and we couldn't wait to get back out. We knew that we had this strong drive to get back out and reconnect with people. And with that same space, we've all become very used to the online space. But what I'm finding now, when I'm going along to in-person events, dental conferences, things like that, they're very busy now. It's like, yeah, the other ones are really convenient. However, I need people around me. I get more engagement when I've got people around me.
Absolutely. You need your tribe around you. You need people like you. So neuroscience shows that you will just naturally gravitate towards people who you admire or have qualities that you value as well. So you might notice friendships shift through time, or you are more connected to certain people. Yeah. So being around those who are similar to you enriches you and propels you forward. So there's a lot of science in that. Yeah, seems logical, right? But it's nice to have the science. I love knowing.
But you know what? There's so many things in life that seem logical, but we still don't take the lesson. Yeah. What seems logical and actually applying it in our life, 2 wildly different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because there's a lot of noise, a lot of other things, a lot of hats we put on, particularly as women as well. You put on different hats every day and you get exhausted. So if I just continue with that little model, there's a couple more little areas like playtime. So I mentioned that briefly. You need to have playtime, whatever that means to you. For example, you can love cooking. Let's say cooking is your downtime. It can also be your playtime, and you can also make connections and cook with your partner or have a glass of wine with them and chat, and or be with your kids and they can cook together. So you can totally incorporate all these. Then there's downtime. That's what we struggle with a lot because we've got lists upon list upon list of things to do. And even in bed, when you're meant to be resting, you're on your phone a lot of the time. I'm sure a lot of you out there, I do it. And I've got to catch myself and go, no, the phone's going to charge in the kitchen now. It's not going to be by my bedside. So that I can go, hey, okay, it's time to just unwind and have some downtime. That could even mean a walk. So it could connect your physical activity together with your downtime. And there we go. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Amazing. And time in. So you've got to have some time in to do activities and to be mindful. Meditation, mindfulness. If you're not into any of that, I will happily send you links, Julie, to some of the activities. And there's even 2-minute ones. Like there's one with the beach, like to reset. I literally did one before. I did a couple, actually. I did a bell sound one, really short one, and one with the ocean. So I needed to escape from my meeting after meeting after meeting. And I do it quite often. So I selected a couple from my repertoire, and there's apps on your phone as well. So if you don't like my ones, there's apps on your phone. Absolutely. Even like my Apple Watch. I got a new Apple Watch. I joined the club. It's been great. When I need to stand up because I'm in a lot of meetings too. It has mindfulness, 1-minute mindfulness or meditation. So it reminds you. So there's a lot of reminders you can set up. So this tells me once or twice a day you need to meditate or just be mindful for a minute. So there's that healthy mind platter. And where I was going with this. There's a lot we can do to support our self and to perform optimally and the best, and for our mind to be rested and fully focused, because we have tough jobs ahead. Talking to people is hard, and we've all got talents. Some people love chatting, others are a bit more shy. So I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone. I've never done this before, but in a couple of weekends, I'm a guest speaker at the Simply the Best conference. So at the symposium. So I'm super excited to talk about mindset reset. So my brain just goes mindset reset because we are very challenged at achieving that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, there's a particular part of our brain. It's our prefrontal cortex. I'm learning lots every day. I love it. I'm no neuroscientist, but it's good to know the basics, where your prefrontal cortex is as thin as like a business card, but it is where you do all your conscious thinking, and it's like a battery. You need to recharge it. And all these things we've talked about, like sleep, physical activity, they recharge it, they re-energize it. So you might notice at certain times of the day, you might be slumped or go, oh, I've just had lunch and I can't think anymore, because your brain just body can't cope with everything. And it's about keeping in that conscious mind for you to be able to make the change in habits and focus your attention on you, on what it is you need, so that you can lead, so that you can perform, so that you can be there for yourself, first of all, and then you think about others.
So one of the things, Vicky, of course, that we often hear is that when you talk about our conscious brain and our subconscious brain, that 95% of our activities are driven, or our behavior is driven by the 95%, which is our subconscious processes. And so we don't actually choose consciously a whole bunch of what we're doing during the day. And what you're talking about is start being really intentional with your conscious stuff to start shifting the way you subconsciously behave, because that's where we win in life, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So if you think about a golden egg, so I've got a little image that I've prepared. So golden egg, and you've got something called the critical factor, and in that top 10% is your conscious mind, and in that bottom 90% is your subconscious or unconscious mind. All of your habits, all of your beliefs growing up happen and kind of dwell in that subconscious area. So our most critical time of growth and thinking, and where our beliefs form, our belief systems form, are when we are between the ages of about 0 and 7 or 8. So that's when our critical factor starts to form. Before then, everything we see, we believe. We believe our parents, we're a sponge, we soak everything up. And then it's around that period where that critical factor starts to form, and we start challenging it. And instead of things just going straight into our beliefs. So let's say you grew up and someone told you you're not good enough, you're not good enough. That's going to be with you throughout your life. And that's something that you're going to have to work towards to bring it out of that subconscious. And this is where I come in to just squash those self-limiting beliefs, because they're not real. They're just based on experiences from when you were younger and what you've absorbed, what you've seen. So relationships that you saw growing up. You try to make sense of everything, and you just go, okay, I'm a sponge, I'm absorbing it all. So that's where in the teen years, you see a little bit of rebellion. It's where we start challenging those thoughts and things start to kind of bounce off. But during those times, up until we're like in adulthood, we cannot process things. Our brain's not fully developed. So it's all a little journey where once we get to adulthood, everything that we believe, all our values, all our belief systems, they're ingrained in us. And we've got personal and cultural sort of beliefs and values, and they change depending on your environment, your situation. So I don't know if you can relate, but at work you might be following different values or beliefs, or kind of acting differently to when you're at home, or when you're amongst a certain group of people, if they're from your cultural background, or if they're others in dentistry, like you just have different values. So yeah, it's very interesting, and I can talk about it a lot, but yeah, we do dwell into that, and we do dive into that very deeply in Leading Dental Woman, which is a gorgeous course for women where we tackle your fears, where your self-belief and your trust gets enhanced. So it's about finding where you want to be, why you're here, what your purpose is, why you have those limiting beliefs. And by actually acknowledging them and writing them down, that's the only way you can move forward. Our brain's wonderful. It likes to work in threes, but it loves when you write things down. It loves crossing things off lists. And an activity I get everyone to do to start off with, so in their first modules that they're in, they write down everything that they have negative feelings towards on a piece of paper. So you could try this as well. So you write everything that you feel guilty about, things that are sort of weighing you down, like the dark cloud on your shoulder. Write it all out and then you burn it. No one sees it. You've written it all down, you burn it. That just does something. And when I did it for the first time, I don't even know what I wrote on there. But obviously it was just weighing heavy on my soul, on my heart, on my beliefs, on everything. And it was holding me back. So you just let it all out in the universe, burn it in the barbecue, burn it in a fire pit, burn it in a bowl on cement. Anyway, just don't set fire to your house.
Depending on how many things you got, yes. How long that piece of paper is.
Yeah, don't hold me liable and write for as long as you need. So it's about taking time for you to really understand yourself, because we don't get time in this busy life. That's what I realized. I realized going into dentistry, and I remember like the first week, they said, oh, dentistry has the high suicide rate, and we're still up there. But then they never did anything to guide us on, okay, how do you have a balanced life? This is where I find a disconnect and where it doesn't sit well with me.
It's an amazing disconnect, and I haven't really considered it before, that is one of the, I don't know if it's a myth or a fact. I've also heard that veterinarians are very, very high because they go into the industry because they love animals, and then they find themselves sadly putting animals down all the time. Yeah. But wherever we are, first or second on the list, I think police officers would be quite high as well. But wherever we are on the list, the industry does just say this is the fact. But then where is all the help out there? Where's the support? Yeah. And tragically, and this is why one of the reasons why I love so much that you're a coach, is that because there was an ADA report that came out recently, and I think it was 1 in 6 dental practitioners in Australia had considered suicide in the past year. I hope I've got that figure right. I've quoted one before and I was wildly wrong. So I checked myself. I think that's right. And it's, it's too high. Anything's too high, isn't it? But one of the reasons why a lot of people aren't out there getting assistance is because if you go and see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, by AHPRA regulations, if they hear anything alarming out of your mouth, they have to report you. And there was one person that said, I'm not going to destroy my career by going off and getting assistance with this. Mm-hmm. Coaches are not governed by AHPRA, and coaches, I feel like coaches are more focused on identifying your goals and vision for the future and giving you assistance in getting there. We don't have to worry so much about all the past stuff. We don't go through years and years of that kind of therapy necessarily, depending on where you're at with your mental space. But coaching for me, I see as the way forward through this mess.
Yes. And where I'm finding, again, the disconnect is, well, people ask me, what do you do? I didn't just wake up one day and said, I'm going to be a coach. That hasn't been sitting well with me. And I thought I never got the support. And it's amazing. In the corporate industry, there is coaching happening every day. Okay. And I'm not talking business coaching. I don't coach in businesses. I coach in you, and to shift you from being second best to nurturing yourself, to shift you from feeling like you're stuck or overwhelmed or time poor. And I chat to a lot of women. I do a lot of little connection calls or strategy calls. So please book in with me. I love to chat with you. So I want to make sure we're a good fit. I don't help everyone. I can't help everybody. But if we've got a chemistry, this is where you're in the right place, and where I know as well. And I'm very real and authentic. If I can't help you, I'll suggest someone else. So I've got a big network of coaches that I'm a part of, particularly women, entrepreneurial women who are just I found my place, and dentistry is quite lonely. And it's about definitely asking the right questions to you. And so you'll be like, why is she asking me this? Why do I have to look at what I want for my future? No one's asked me this before. So it's confronting. And we're not used to being vulnerable in our industry. Mm. Okay. And just know that whatever I speak about with you stays with me. It doesn't go anywhere. Unless, as we said, unless we see that there's a psychological issue there where you actually need professional help. And that's where I call the line and go, hey, look, can I make a suggestion? Would you mind just seeing your GP and or seeing someone who can help you better? Because I'm not here to solve problems. I'm here to look at what it is that's holding you back, to get you to stop blaming other people for your life, to take responsibility.
Yeah. Because that's beautiful. That's it, isn't it? When you claim complete responsibility over your life, your responses to stimuli, your thoughts that you have, the meaning you attach to past things, that's all up to us. That's the one thing we do have control over,
Yes.
the way we process things.
Yes.
Thank God.
Absolutely. Thank goodness. And we're just tapping into that. And with neuroscience, with the neurolinguistics as well, like there's a whole lot of exercises and activities. So it is a bit of work. You cannot expect to get magic to happen when you're not prepared to put work into anything, right?
Yeah.
So it will take time for someone who wants to work on themselves to actually carve out that time. You need to carve out that time. Because if you've lost yourself, you're just going to keep losing yourself. If you feel like you're just doing the same thing day in, day out, if you're overwhelmed, if you're time poor, there's a reason for all that, because you haven't had the opportunity or the guidance where you can explore that. So I want women, I want people. So look, right now I work with women. Who knows? Maybe I work with everybody, but I just I find my connection with women because I live and breathe it. Though I do have a lot of males who say, "Can you be my coach?" I've had to decline them, but I've recommended others to them. You never know. That's got me questioning, who can I help? So I am still focusing on women in dentistry because I know what you're going through and I want you to design your life. If you can't make future plans that are attainable, you're not going to go for them. I'm not making your plans. I will facilitate you to look towards what goals you have, what values are inside of you, and how you can harness those to live an authentic, beautiful life that you deserve, because we have one chance at it. Absolutely.
That's it. And everyone's sitting at a certain point right now, and the way they are thinking and behaving is setting them off a trajectory to a certain point. If that thinking and behavior is not helpful, then the end point isn't as pretty as it could be, isn't as enjoyable, happy, peaceful as it could be. And so use this point right now, this opportunity right now, to just bump it to another space, to start doing some things, thinking about some things in a more helpful way. And the place you end up is wildly, wildly different.
It's limitless. You have no idea what is within you and what you can achieve if you have not searched for it. So I get my beautiful clients to do personality tests. We explore their emotions, because it's not just what you're thinking here. Everything's connected. There's something called the iceberg model. If you imagine an iceberg, again, to do with that 90%, that 10%, there's a lot going on underneath that iceberg. Yeah. And you don't even know what's going on. But once you tap into that and you realize what's holding you back from achieving everything you want to achieve, that is when you're the winner. That is when you've won at life and when things start to fall into place. It's really amazing.
It. They do start to fall into place. And I think if people are thinking, I don't know if I have any limiting beliefs, what does that actually end up looking like? And if you ever find yourself saying, I can't take on a hobby because I have no time, or I can't go ahead and do that form of dentistry because I can't go back to university again and spend a few years in university. I can't go ahead and do that thing because I'm not confident enough. The minute you're providing yourself with an excuse or a reason why you can't do something, that's a limiting belief.
Absolutely.
And that's the stuff you can really help with as well.
Yep. I support you to shift from that because I ask you the right questions. We navigate deep inside and find out what's in that unconscious mind of yours. And then I give you tools to use, like that beautiful platter with the Healthy Mind Platter, to learn to focus on things that will be beneficial for you rather than waste your energy and time on dwelling on the past, on dwelling on problems. You become someone who thinks positively, but we're not talking about having a high always. You need a balance. So with every high, there's a low. It's just about how you deal with the hurdles and the challenges that you're faced with, and do it so that you can quickly shift from that and get things going and make them happen.
Beautiful. I was contemplating yesterday when, in the preparation for our discussion today, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if there are people out there, and it'd be reasonable if there were, and this isn't a fully well thought out process, so it may not work, but it's first time I verbalize, let's see if it works, where they say, this is all just airy-fairy stuff. A lot of people are talking about work-life balance and all the, and belief systems and all the things. And my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents never had to worry about these sort of things. Why do we all of a sudden have to worry about it now? Is it part of that problem that we have where everyone's way too in touch with themselves and we're just not getting along with life? But then I thought to myself, generations ago, when we consider Maslow's hierarchy of needs, generations ago, we weren't functioning in this space. We were still just trying to make sure that we could survive, maintain shelter, food, education, things like that. But now, our Western world is so generous to us that many of us are going into that self-actualization top part of the pyramid. And that's where the limiting self-beliefs start to rise up, because everything below that, we can function very successfully in our family, in our tribe, in our generation, because our limiting self-belief assisted us do that. It made sure we were always happy being a farmer, that we're always happy being a supplier of those sort of things and being part of that small community. But what happens when we go up into the top self-actualization section of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? That's where we go, oh, I've got to break free of this stuff so I can become something more aspiring.
Absolutely. It keeps us safe. So that's the word that came up with everything you said, safety. All those, no, you can't do this, or no, just stick with what you're doing. All those limiting beliefs, they're designed to keep us safe because it's what you know. Because you don't know what's on the other side of, if you take that little jump, if you take that step, if you go into that fear zone, you don't know how it's going to turn out. And that scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
But just trust yourself, because you know deep down what it is that you need to feel fulfilled. And yes, we could stay in that comfort zone. Absolutely. But there's no learning that happens in the comfort zone. And then there's no comfort in your learning zone. So learning's not comfortable, but it's how you get to growth, how you get to that next big step. And that can have to do with business, with yourself, with relationships. And then guess what's on the other side of that growth or goal zone? It's a new comfort zone. So you get comfortable again. And it might be just where you need to be, or you might go, hey, I'm going to challenge it a little bit more. So there's a lot of neurochemicals that happen in that process, and you've just got to have that right balance for you to have that optimal performance and not get burnt out, not feel like you can't do this or do life anymore. We don't want to get to that point. So
Tony Robbins says that what makes us happy as human beings is progress. Progress equals happiness. And so if you find yourself sitting back going, I've got all these things in my life, I've got my business, my dentistry, my family, my friends, I have got myself as well, but I just don't have the happiness. And maybe what's lacking is moving into that uncomfortable space, the discomfort of learning. I love what you said then, you got to become comfortable with the learning zone, because then you stop resisting it and then you start stepping into it. And the minute you step into it, you progress equals happiness.
Yeah. And you'll constantly cycle through that with different things, little challenges, whether it is, as you mentioned before, progressing in your career and learning that new skill. But that's what you've done. You don't realize it. You've done that your whole life.
Yeah.
And you've got to think, how did I get through that? And why? Because your reward was there. You knew that you had a great reward. So you were getting great benefit from what was on the other side. So if you can visualize and focus on, this is what I'm going to get out of this, this is what I'm aiming for, then that will propel you forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you've got the Leading Dental Woman program. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So this program is there to facilitate those, because we're all leading dental women. So we're all women. So I might even change the name in the future to Leading Women. In dentistry, whether it's in your personal life or in your career, you are a leader. So it's about looking at how you communicate and first diving deep into yourself. So a few things we've mentioned. It's super important to know what your motives are, what your motivations are, what your values are, because that's when you truly make goals that align with you. So it's about self-alignment. Because if I make a goal for you, like, oh, go run 5 times a day, you'd be like, Vicky, I'm not a runner. Well, nor am I. So it's a fail. It's a fail from the get-go. So it's about chatting. And with that course, it's amazing. I do 2 live classes a week, which are then recorded and you can catch up. So for those who are busy, but it's really nice to interact. And I find the interaction in these groups is how we learn off each other. And we're really raw and authentic and real. So if you don't allow yourself to be in a safe space where you can be authentic, you're not going to really get benefits, I guess, or really see what's going on for you. So it's about finding out what's going on for you and then getting you to soar to success at the end. So what's really cool, and I've even got a nutritionist who's made 12 weeks of recipes, for example. Here are your recipes. Here's your shopping list. Go to Woolies. You know what? Cooking stresses me out too. I've got kids, and like after work, you think, what am I going to cook? Or I've done many lunchtime because we live on top of our practice. And I've gone at lunchtime to cook, and I'm like, well, there's my time out. Like, that was exhausting. So I've tried to implement little things like that, as well as looking at models, how our brain works, what fear does for us, how it limits us, setting smart goals, and really making it individualized for you, because I want women and men, but I focus on women at the moment. I want women to realize their full potential and to live life the way they dream, because you deserve it. You do deserve it. And we don't get a lot of time to think about ourselves. So it's a 90-day course. And in that 90 days, you will be shifting. And I know you will be shifting because you will have looked at how you have been in the past, looking at your best self, looking at times that have been difficult, where you want to be in the future, and setting little milestones along the way on how to achieve it. So it's about little bite-sized things. It's not like, oh, I want to be a millionaire in 6 months. So make them realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And make them tangible. So time limited, make them something that is measurable. So where you go, cool, I've achieved this, tick, onto the next thing now. Yeah. So it's a really safe space for women, where you can be amongst those who think similarly to you, who are ready to dive into finding their purpose, regaining their passion, getting that time back and putting in the effort. So if you're truly ready to put in the effort into yourself, this is where I come in. So first steps, I guess, to do, join Women in Dentistry. I've got a beautiful free group there. I share a lot.
It's on Facebook, isn't it?
It is on Facebook.
So I'm putting the link of that in there, because that is a beautiful thing. Because when I was just talking to Amina, my colleague and buddy, about this, that when we're talking about, this is the kind of pain points you might be experiencing, people out there. I mean, for Amina and I, it's for dental practice owners and managers, but for yourself, it's for self, career, all the things. And then I've got this wonderful course that you can jump into. Sometimes people do, and I was listening to a podcast yesterday, they said they need a little taster. What does this person stand for? How do they communicate? How do they, what's their vibe? What's their energy? And so I do encourage everyone, if this conversation is intriguing you at all, even to the smallest degree, jump into that Facebook group straight away, because they can start to experience Vicky and seeing if that connects and resonates. That's a beautiful first step. And you also, I was looking on your website too, a discovery call, just having a chat, as you mentioned before, having that as then the next step to really find out, this is what I'm experiencing in my life. What are your thoughts about that? Is there going to be progress made in that 90-day transformational challenge thing?
Yeah. And what's interesting is that a lot of the women I speak to, they're ready to make a change, but they're not prepared to put the effort in. So you'll come to a point where you need to put effort into everything. You need to carve out the time. For example, my coaching, I have carved out time for that as I'm transitioning into that full time. And I know that financially, I'm not seeing patients, not making money. Okay. Yeah. On the days I don't have other dentists here, I know, well, that's what I'm prepared to face. And what's a couple of hours a week? And then in the evenings or weekends or whenever you are available to do the little course activities. They're pretty fun. So it comes with a little booklet. But yes, please, I would love to chat with you. And if you feel like my energy is aligned with yours, or if you have no idea and you go, what's she talking about? Please, I'd love to chat with you. Message me on Facebook, email me, hello@aboveit.com.au, and we can chat. We can make a quick 15-minute chat at a time that works for us. So thank you for that plug, Julie.
Oh, that is my pleasure. It's funny because when you were mentioning before, you got to do the work yourself. The thing that kept popping up into my head was, because you said before, there's no magic there. There can be magic there, but the person themselves has to wave the magic wand. You can teach them how to make the magic wand, but they're the ones that have to wave that magic wand itself. And even though you might think to yourself, oh God, 90 days, who's got the time? part of that is you increasing in motivation constantly because you are getting progress. You're achieving stuff every step of the way.
That's right. I had some feedback from one of my coaching clients. It was so cute. She goes, all that woo-woo stuff, like, I don't know what you did, but I woke up the next day because I don't undo woo-woo. Like, I'm very grounded. But a lot of it is definitely beyond science sometimes, or beyond our understanding. We're like, well, why do I have to be mindful? And I try to explain as best as I can in the course. And there are lots of videos to watch. So you can listen to it in the car, you can catch up on things and then do the activities when you wish. She goes, I don't know what you did, but you totally shifted something in me. I go, well, that's great. That activity worked for you. Fantastic. Use it. We know that's a good one for you. So if ever you feel stuck again, we're going to do it again.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so I'm very flexible as well. So there is the course, but in our hourly chats, our classes that we have online, I will address whatever's on your mind. I'm here for you. So it's not like it's like, oh, you're at university or in TAFE and you're like, oh, this is the course outline. Flexibility, it's what it's all about, because I'm here to address your needs.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's been so delightful to speak with you. And for the audience out there, when you do consider, I was writing down a list of challenges that would naturally bring people towards you. And, I don't have enough time for anything. All the patient demands and expectations are very high. The team members, as you were saying, some people are leaving. I've got difficult conversations to have. How do I replace that person? All the team demands, the business demands, the family demands, and then the self on top of that, which usually does come a very late second in life. Life has become very complex and busy, and there are enormous benefits to all those things, which is why we step into those worlds. We have children because of the benefits. We get a business because of the benefits. We choose dentistry because of the benefits. But as my husband Charles says, with every benefit, there's going to be a drawback. And it's how we process that drawback, what we do with that drawback, as to whether we start seeing all these wonderful areas of our life as depleting us or stopping us from having energy, time, love, peace, harmony, or despite the drawbacks, the benefits are what make us have a very happy, satisfying life.
That's right. And that's what I'm here to do, to help you identify what it is that's missing from your life. It could be spirituality, whatever that means to you. Could be God, could be the universe, could be your connection with the earth, could mean more time outdoors, hugging a tree. I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not here to inflict any beliefs on anyone, but I'm here to get your mind thinking laterally. And we're lateral thinkers in dentistry. We love it. And we love challenges. So if you're up for the challenge of finding your best self, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support you. And I really enjoy it.
Love it, Vicky. I love it. Well, all your contact details, website, all the things are in the show notes. If you've got any of those things, links to mindfulness exercises, send them through to me. I'll pop all them in the show notes as well. But thank you for your work in this space. Hopefully this is, triggering a lot of people to think, oh, maybe I can, have a happier, more peaceful life, feeling like I am on a better path and more stable path to success and mastering all the stuff that's subconscious. So I can, in my conscious brain, be the best version of myself, not just for our own self, but for children and the patients and teams and everybody else around us as well. So thank you so much, Vicky. It's been an absolute delight.
Oh, thank you, Julie. It's been wonderful.
I'll speak to you hopefully on another episode.
Yes, happily. We can dive into whatever takes people. Get out there. Tell us what you need to hear about. I can totally talk about it. I love talking.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think you will have any trouble talking about it.
No, definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much. If you enjoyed today's podcast, then you should come along and join the club. The club is a whole library of lunch and learns, with new lunch and learns being produced all the time, that help your dental team gain greater success in your systems, in your team behaviours, in your patient management, in your patient engagement, in their treatment plans. They are usually around half an hour in length, and so team members can sit down, be paid for their lunch break, eat lunch while they're being inspired, and delivered all of these insights and strategies that can be implemented so you all achieve greater levels of success. Also, Amina and I, my buddy from Dental Management Expertise, have a company, Dental Business Mastery, together. And our flagship online 1-year course for dental practice managers and dental practice owners to learn how to very successfully manage your dental practice is available. Head over to dentalbusinessmastery.com.au to find out more information, and has information about any other courses that we've got available. Also, make sure you do jump onto my website, julieparkerpracticesuccess.com.au, and you will see a whole load of free information. There are articles, the blog, downloads, templates, a whole load of things that are designed to help you overcome any specific challenge that you've got going on in your practice at the moment. If you have any suggestions of topics or guests that I can have on the podcast, please let me know. Thanks for listening.